Never felt the rain, rain, rain.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Pace University's West Coast Virtual Admitted Student Reception. My name is Alexa Dalbis. I'm an admissions counselor at Pace based on our Westchester campus, and I oversee the Southern California applicant pool. First off, I'd like to congratulate all of you on your acceptance to Pace University. This is a major accomplishment that you should all feel incredibly proud of achieving. Tonight, I'm also excited to share with you all of the reasons why a Pace University education will put you on the path to success. But before I dive into things, I do want to introduce a few people who will be assisting me tonight with the program. So joining me is current student Angel Hermosillo, who is a California native. She's a junior childhood education major with a concentration in English, and she attends Pace on our New York City campus. She grew up in the theater world, performing in multiple California theater companies and winning numerous prestigious awards. One day, she strives to open up her own theater company for students with autism spectrum disorder or Down syndrome. Also joining us tonight, we have alumni Hannah Hall, who graduated from our Westchester campus in 2012 and went on to be a Fulbright scholar who studied in Columbia. On campus, she was actively involved in community service and has since worked for many nonprofit organizations since she graduated back in 2012. Though she's originally from Brooklyn, she does currently live in New York City, in Los Angeles rather, and both of them will be able to give you some insight on what it's like to transition from living in the Golden State to the Big Apple. You'll have the opportunity to hear a little bit more from them later on in our program. But I also want to point out tonight that we will be utilizing our chat feature. So if you have any questions throughout the duration of the presentation, feel free to pop them in our chat. My admissions colleagues, Jessica Drennan, as well as Megan Mummy, will be monitoring the chat and responding throughout the presentation. Since there are so many of you in attendance tonight, we want to make sure that all of the questions get answered. So don't feel like you need to wait until the Q&A after the presentation. Feel free to ask the questions at any point throughout. And without further ado, I'm going to get started. Okay. So, now I know that all of you are in the process of narrowing down your final college decisions to figure out which school you want to commit to. And I think that one of the best questions that you can all be asking yourselves during this time is, as you're sitting through these virtual receptions, doing your online research, what does the school that you're looking at have to offer you that the other schools that you're looking at doesn't necessarily have to offer? Here at Pace University, we encourage all of our students to take that path towards greatness because you all have the drive and we have the path. And it's through the implementation of the PACE Path goal setting system that really diversifies the PACE educational experience from all of the other schools out there. Now, the PACE Path starts off with our University 101 course, which all first-year students at PACE have to take. The course is going to be taught by your academic advisor, which is like your high school guidance counselor, and you work closely with them to create a 4-year blueprint for your time on campus. And now your advisor, they're going to work closely with you, get to know you, ask you some important questions to see how you see your 4 years going. So they'll ask you questions like, what were you involved with in high school that you'd like to remain involved with? Or what weren't you involved with that you'd like to get involved with? Are you interested in studying abroad? If so, where and for how long? Do you know what industry you want to work in? If so, maybe some companies that you might want to try and intern for. And then based on the answers to all of these different questions, you'll be able to develop realistic and achievable sets of goals for yourselves within our 3 key categories: personal development, professional development, and academic development. And now that's really the broad overview of our PACE Path goal setting system to really ensure that our students are walking across that graduation stage at the end of their 4 years as well-rounded, market-ready individuals that are ready to take those next steps, be it jumping into a career or continuing their education. But one of the questions that I always get is the path flexible? You know, I understand your first year, you know that coming into college, a lot of things are going to change. So you don't want to feel locked into anything, but we totally understand that. Some students come in undecided on what they want to major in completely, or they might be gung-ho on being a business major, but then they take that creative writing 101 course and suddenly they're like, oh, I think I can change the world as a journalist. That's amazing. We have every single resource that those students need to reconfigure their PACE path at any point during their 4-year career at PACE to make sure that their goals are constantly reflecting their ever-changing interests. Again, to make sure that at the end of it all, they're graduating as well-rounded, market-ready individuals that are ready to be successful in the future. So diving a little deeper into each of the 3 areas of the PACE path, I'm going to begin with academics. Now, one of the greatest things about academics at PACE is that here you're really always going to be a name. You're never going to be a number, because the average class size at PACE is about 20 students, and that only gets smaller as you progress through your major. Some majors do work their way down to 8 or 12 other students in a course, so you really have every opportunity to develop those personalized relationships with your peers as well as your professors. Now, 90% of the professors on our campus do have a terminal degree in their fields, meaning the highest degree available to them within their fields of study. So they really are experts that are teaching these courses. Not only that, the majority of our professors are still actively working in their fields. So not only are they teaching you out of a textbook, but they're teaching you from those real world and firsthand experiences, and they're bringing those experiences into the classroom from you to learn from. So here at PACE, we do have 5 undergraduate schools of study. Going through them quickly, we do have the Dyson College of Arts and Sciences. It houses over 50 different majors in our arts, sciences, and humanities programs. So those are programs like biology, psychology, digital cinema, criminal justice, communications, performing arts, all of those liberal arts type fields. Now, everyone at PACE does have to complete a university core of about 45 to 55 credits, so everyone does familiarize themselves with the class offerings through the Dyson College at some point within their PACE university career. Next up is our Lubin School of Business. We were founded as a business school, and our roots are still very much so strong in the business world. We're within less than 3% of schools worldwide accredited as a business as well as an accounting institution. And because of the fact that we're located both inside of and just outside of New York City, one of the biggest business hubs in the world, we currently have the largest business internship program in the New York metro area. Tons of opportunities for professional development, not only in New York City, but right in Westchester as well. Now, our College of Health Professions breaks down to 2 separate programs. We do have Health Sciences, which is offered on both of our campuses, and Nursing, which is located exclusively on our Pleasantville campus. Our nursing program is a direct admit program, so students do take those first classes their freshman year and progress into their clinicals at the beginning of their sophomore year. 3 full years of clinical experience on their resume before they even walk across that graduation stage. And we have brand new nursing simulation labs that have simulation mannequins that are able to give birth, get sick on you, have asthma attacks, and talk to you. Really high-tech stuff. So it's a really great opportunity for us to integrate technology into the learning experience. Our students are able to develop those skills that they need hands-on in that classroom before going out and applying those skills within their professional settings. Next up is our Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems. That is where all of our tech-based majors fall: computer science, information systems, and information technology. However, I really do encourage all students, regardless of major, to take a look at the courses that we offer, because the more tech skills that you have on a resume these days, the more marketable you are in the job force. And we offer a wide variety of courses where you can develop relevant technology skills and apply them to really any kind of major or career path. So if you are computer savvy, I absolutely recommend checking out some courses, maybe even taking up a minor. Last but not least, we do have our School of Education. We are one of the few schools in the area to utilize Teach Live, which is a live virtual avatar system. Our students are able to teach to a virtual reality classroom of virtual students all across different age and learning spectrums, really giving them, again, that opportunity to utilize technology in the classroom to develop those skills they need before even stepping into that classroom. And last but not least, we do have our School of Law. So we do have 3 campuses at Pace, if you weren't aware. Located about 20 minutes away from our Westchester campus is our School of Law, which is a great segue into our combined degree programs. With our School of Law, we do have 3 and 3 programs where you can get a bachelor's and a JD in 6 years as opposed to 7. But across all 5 of our undergraduate academic schools, we do have the opportunity to receive a combined degree. So in 5 to 6 years, you can earn a bachelor's and a graduate degree. You do save time and total money on that tuition cost because the financial aid package will roll over into that 5th year. Again, over 35 different programs to check out. So if you are thinking long-term and know that you want to get that graduate degree, I highly recommend looking into one of our programs to see if you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now, diving into a little bit of between the 2 campuses, I do want to invite my friend Jess back on camera since she's based on our New York City campus, so she can talk a little bit about the campus experience down there.
Hi, everyone. So yes, I'll be talking a little bit about our New York City campus. So when you think about picking a college, you need to think about location. So do you want to be in the suburbs or do you want to be in the city? Do you want all 4 or do you want to be in Florida? So if you pick Pace University's New York City campus, New York City will be your campus. We are located in downtown Manhattan, right in the financial district. We're about a block away from the Brooklyn Bridge and a couple from the something cool about our New York City campus is a lot of New York City schools are spread out across Manhattan, but Pace University is not. It's all within a 5-block radius of each other. So you never have to take the subway to get to class. Everything is right there in walking distance. And being in New York City, you'll have internship and job opportunities right in your backyard. We do have 4 residence halls on our New York City campus. Maria's Tower and 182 Broadway are primarily for freshmen. Maria's Tower is located in One Pace Plaza, which is the same building that has the library, the gym, the cafeteria, and many classrooms. So if you live in Maria's Tower, mostly everything is just an elevator right away. And then 182 Broadway is about a 5-minute walk away from Maria's Tower and One Pace Plaza. Both of those buildings have 24/7 security. And then we also have 3 Beekman and 55 John Street, which are primarily for upperclassmen. And then we have some pictures of our new student spaces that were recently unveiled. This is a study row, more student hangout spaces. This is our Lubin collaborative space. And this is our new student center. And now I'll pass it back to Alexa so she can talk a little bit about our Pleasantville campus.
Thanks so much, Jess. So I am based on our Westchester campus, so it is a treat every time I get to go and visit the city. Those views of the Brooklyn Bridge are absolutely to die for from One Pace Plaza, as well as all those residential halls. It really is something like you've never seen before. It's that New York energy. You just feel like, you know, you can wake up and accomplish anything. But about an hour north of our New York City campus is our Westchester campus. So when you come to Pace, it is a 2-for-1 deal in terms of these campuses. So regardless of which campus you're sleeping on at night, you do have access to full resources on our alternative campus. We do have a shuttle that runs between our 2 campuses 4 times a day, every weekday in conjunction with the class schedule, and it's absolutely free for our students to use. So like Jess said, location is key. Are you looking for a city experience or a suburban experience? If you're a little torn between the 2, we do have both options available to you. So our Westchester campus, it's in the heart of Westchester in the town of Pleasantville, New York. There's about 2,700 undergraduate students on our campus, and it is the more traditional of our 2 campuses. Grass, trees, Division II athletics, homecoming weekend, again, kind of what you get when you think of that traditional college experience. In terms of living on campus, we do have Alumni Hall, which is where we house all of our first-year students. It's a semi-suite style layout, so you have 2 bedrooms linked up to a private bathroom, and each semi-suite contains 5 to 6 residents. Or 4 to 5 residents, my apologies. Martin and North Hall, as you progress up into the upperclassmen years, those are your more traditional style residence halls where you do have a communal bathroom and rooms ranging anywhere from a single to a quad layout. And then Elm Hall is a full suite style layout, and the townhouses are really like mini apartments. You get a living room, dining room, kitchen, really full live off campus experience without actually living off campus. So those are all of the options for you on our Pleasantville campus. A few different styles of living like on the city campus to really cater to all types of students. As I mentioned, we do have our Division II athletics located on our Westchester campus. So NCAA Division II Northeast 10 Conference. We do have 14 NCAA teams, men's and women's sports, in addition to a cheer squad, as well as some club sports. So for those of you who may not know, because I know when I started college, I wasn't aware of the difference between all of these things. So NCAA sports, obviously you're affiliated with the NCAA, you're a college athlete, you get all the perks that come along with being a college athlete. Club sports are nice because you still are able to compete against teams at different schools, but you're not affiliated with the NCAA, so you don't have as much pressure as the college athlete. It's more so, just casual fun, but again, you do have the opportunity to play against different schools. And then intramural sports are the opportunities for students on campus to just play against other students on campus. So get a group of your friends together. You can play sports like badminton, wiffle ball, dodgeball, volleyball. There are a few different unique opportunities out there. But again, it's a really great way to stay active on campus. Intramurals are offered on both of our campuses versus NCAA Division II sports are only offered on the Pleasantville campus. So intramural sports, everyone are able to get involved and you're all able to keep off that freshman 15. Some photos of our Westchester campus. That is our student center, which houses our dining hall, as well as some student offices on campus, campus development and student activities, really plans all those fun events that you'll be able to attend on campus as a student. This student here is pointing out our Alumni Hall, the first year residential hall where we will live. And then only a few minutes away from campus is our Pleasantville train station on the Metro North line, super accessible to pretty much any point in the tri-state area, including New York City. So really short, easy ride. And in order to get to the Pleasantville train station, which is only about 2 minutes drive away from campus, you are able to take our campus shuttle, which runs every half hour between the center of campus and the center of town. So again, totally free for our students to use. So plenty of ways to access all the major airports in the area and things like that for all of our students that are traveling from out of state. Plenty of opportunities to take your educational experience abroad here as well. Study abroad. Our students are studying abroad at a rate that's 50% higher than the national average. So our students really value that worldly education. They like going out and exploring what the world has in store for them. And what's unique about the Pace Study Abroad program is they offer a few different formats to really cater to every type of student. Now, for our students who are very much so want to get out there, see the world, immerse themselves in a different culture, we have students that can study up to a year abroad in different locations. Then we have your traditional semester abroad in one location. And then for even our busiest students who may not want to leave, leadership positions, may not want to miss out on certain classes on campus, they do have the opportunity to study abroad through a faculty-led study abroad course. And the way that that works is a student takes the course during either the fall or spring semester and will study abroad in relation to that course during an intersession. So spring break, winter break, beginning of summer. Again, so it really is able to fit into the schedule of even our busiest students on campus that again might not necessarily want to commit to an entire semester or year out off campus. Student life. So we do recognize, students, they're going to spend a lot of time outside of the classroom and outside of those professional development experiences. So we want to make sure that we're giving them plenty to do. We want to make sure that they're remaining engaged and entertained while they're here on campus. So that's really where our 100 different student clubs and organizations come into play. We have clubs representing pretty much every interest that you could possibly think of. And if you have an interest that isn't currently represented at PACE, you are able to work with student government and a group of your friends to start your own organization. So one of the student tour guides on the Pleasantville campus, she's actually a huge Harry Potter fan, and she's in the process of trying to start the Quidditch team on campus. So they're really open to any and all ideas. They want to make PACE a welcoming environment where students can explore all of those interests outside of the academic setting. And getting involved, it's a great way to meet new people, you have new experiences, and there are plenty of opportunities for leadership development as well, opportunities that you might not necessarily find in an academic or an internship setting. Now, PACE does infuse sustainability into our campuses and academics. We're very proud of the fact that we are constantly reducing our carbon footprint, really thinking earth consciously as we progress forward and evolve as an institution. We give our students over 350 different sustainability programs and events to get involved with throughout the course of the year, as well as majors in environmental science and environmental studies. We are also ranked the #1 environmental law program by the U.S. News and World Report for 2020. And on our Pleasantville campus, we actually have a small scale farm. So if you're ever in the area, I highly recommend stopping by campus, saying hi to all our animals. We even have a very friendly pig named Milo who loves a good chin scratch. So probably my favorite place on campus to hang out, take my lunch break. Now, safety and security, we really are looking out for you. Both of our campuses are incredibly safe. In terms of our Pleasantville campus, we're located in Pleasantville, New York. I think the name does really speak for itself. It's a very safe and secure neighborhood, and we have a very good working relationship with the Mount Pleasant Police Department, so it's not uncommon for them to be patrolling on campus. Same thing goes for our New York City campus. We're located right across the street from New York City Hall and one of the New York NYPD headquarters. So very strong police presence down there as well. So our students do feel very safe walking from location to location. A few additional security features that we have on campus: key card access to all of the different residential areas. Students cannot get in and out unless they're given access to that building. So people can't just come and go as they please unless they're affiliated with the building or Pace University. We also have an emergency alert system. So in cases where, snow day or a mass message needs to be sent out, our students are all able to receive it to their cell phones just like that. And we also have blue light systems. So student sees a blue light. If they feel unsafe, they can press that button, and within 30 seconds, the security guard will be there to escort them to wherever they need to be. So again, I personally have been on both campuses, both during the day, during the night, with people, without people. I feel comfortable walking around at any point, and I really would feel comfortable telling anyone to walk around as well in the area. So personally, I can vouch for the safety of both of our campuses. Now, one of the last pieces of the PACE Path, careers and internships, we really put an emphasis on those real world experiences at PACE. We know that they are just as important as those in-class experiences. Now, last year, our students completed over 8,000 professional development experiences at some of the 1,000 plus companies in our tri-state area that are currently employing our students as interns. So we have a very strong alumni and career network running between all of our campuses. The office on our campus that's responsible for linking up our students with all of the different job opportunities out there is our Career Services Office. Now, they offer tons of resources, everything from one-on-one career counseling to help with creating resumes and cover letters. They'll give you tips and tricks for online and interpersonal networking, mock interviews, and etiquette workshops. The list really does go on and on. They're always looking for new ways to implement professional development experiences right on campus. They'll teach you everything from how to shake a hand. They'll even let you borrow a business blazer. Additionally, on each of our campuses, we have 2 job fairs every year with over 100 employers at each. And as I mentioned earlier, it is a 2-for-1 deal between the 2 campuses. So between both of them, they have the opportunity to go to 4 different job fairs, 4 different opportunities per year for them to get their names out there in their respective industries. And last but not least, we do have our online job database called Handshake, which is unique because Pace University students are able to upload their resume into the job database and employers are hunting them out. So my tour guides come to me all the time saying, hey, Alexa, you'll never guess what. I got another message in my inbox and it says, hey, we saw XYZ on your resume. And because of these things, we think you'd be a great fit in this internship position. Would you like to come in for an interview? And until 5 minutes ago, my student didn't even know that company existed. So it really is a great way for us to link up our students with all of the job opportunities out there, the ones even that maybe they didn't know existed or they didn't think were a good fit for them upon first glance. Now, who is hiring PACE students? We are very fortunate that our backyard, it's all 5 boroughs of New York City, Long Island, Northern New Jersey, Rockland County, Westchester County, and Stamford, Connecticut. And I know you may not be familiar with that area, but if you do a quick Google search, you'll see that in that geographic area, you have some of the biggest, most powerful, and worldwide recognized brands. And all of them are actively hiring PACE University students. Because year after year, PACE students, they have the skills on their resumes. They have the professional development experiences. These companies know that our students are going to excel in their internship and entry-level positions like so many of our students have in the past. So year after year, they go out of their way to hire PACE students because it's simple. They know that a PACE student is going to get that job done, and they're going to get that job done well. But at this point, you've heard enough from me, so I'm going to take a break and invite Angel and Hannah back onto the stage, and they're going to talk to you about what their PACE experience was like, how they kind of planned their path, and what they've been able to accomplish. So Angel, if you want to kick us off as our current student, tell us a little bit about what you have going on.
Yeah, so thank you, Alexa. So essentially, I'm a junior here at Pace University. Again, I'm a junior childhood education major with a concentration in English. I'm actually planning into going into our 5-year program where I get my master's in special education. And again, I'm a California born and bred native. I love California, but I also love New York City, hence why I go to school in New York City. So on campus, I work as a tour guide, and I'm also a Pacebound ambassador. So you're able to speak to me on the Pacebound platform and app, ask me any questions you may have. I love to post about New York City community and our campus here at New York City, and just to help you guys get acclimated to the New York City environment and pace before you even go. I know it's something that I wish I had coming from California before stepping off of that plane. So that's basically what I do in terms of work on campus. Clubs on campus, I'm a member of Kappa Delta Sorority. It's one of our Greek organizations here on campus. We work with a lot of nonprofits. Just name 2, we work with Girl Scouts as well as New York Society Prevention for Cruelty in Children. We help fundraise for these children who have gone under traumatic experiences and abuse. We help them get the proper resources that they need to continue on. That's what I do in terms of clubs. So off campus, I have interned at KPA Talent Agency, where we help represent diverse artists in the entertainment industry. We also are our own production company. So we've put on a couple productions in terms of TV shows, reality TV shows, and scripted TV shows. It helps me get background knowledge of what's happening behind the scenes, as well as how I want to be represented as a diverse performer. So at this point, I love to point out and spill the tea that New York City gives so many interesting opportunities and the oddest of places, the weirdest times, but you have to be prepared for them. As I was a background extra in Trevor Noah's Daily Show with Comedy Central. It should air sometime this month or next month, but I actually got that job through my boxing gym. So it's the oddest place to get a entertainment gig. However, you have to be prepared to be involved in the oddest of times, and you have to be ready and accept it. So that's basically what I've done off campus. Again, to wrap it up with academics and my fieldwork experience as an education major. I've worked in the field in a classroom once a week. We normally do it every Friday. We're able to go into a classroom, observe students, and possibly student teach regarding if you're comfortable with your mentor teacher and with the department. And then next semester, my first semester, my senior year, I will be in the field 2 days a week, again, observing, and then based on my comfortability, teaching students. And then my last semester, senior year, I will be student teaching really getting involved and putting my education practice to the test. So to wrap it all up, again, I want to open up my own theater company to help students who are on the spectrum of autism and Down syndrome, hence why I'm getting my major in education while I'm building this huge entertainment portfolio in New York City, which I probably would have not have received in California, and why I'm getting a master's in special education. So that's basically it about me. That's me in a nutshell. I will actually hand on over to Hannah so she could tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. Again, my name is Hannah Tall. I studied psychology and minored in sociology while at Pace. I attended Pace's Westchester Campus. Just a bit about me, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and while on campus, one of the first ways that I was able to really dig in and find community and really step into my leadership was as the student outreach coordinator for the Center for Community Action and Research at Pace. And that's the office that plans and runs service and civic engagement opportunities for students on campus. And I spent 3.5 years, minus my semester abroad, working for that office. So I was really able to dig my heels into everything from voter registration for the 2008 elections, down to planning small and large-scale community service projects for the campus community. I was able to actually launch something called Pace Makes a Difference Day, Student Edition, which was the first student-run large-scale service day that happened on campus, which was super cool. Some of the other things I did while on campus, I was a DJ for the WPAR radio station, which my class year 2009, we started relaunching that radio station on campus, which was really cool because I got to take something that I just was curious about and wanted to learn more about and turn it into a passion and represent the organization in student government as a senator as well, which was super cool. I also was able to act as a teacher's assistant on campus. I took some time to study abroad in my junior year. I studied abroad under the Gilman Scholarship, which is a study abroad scholarship that allowed me to go to Lima, Peru. I credit Dean Lisa. She is no longer with Pace, but she was one of my favorite people on campus, and she also just helped me through that application process. She was just a part of the tribe and community that supported me, and I really appreciated that. Fast forward past living in Peru and studying abroad there, I came back to Pace and participated in the Wilson Center's Wilson Center for Social Entrepreneurships internship program, and that program allowed me to intern in New York City for 2 different nonprofit organizations, Partnership with Children and Stoked Mentoring. And Stoked Mentoring actually ended up being where I got my first full-time job after coming back stateside. So one thing I forgot to mention, I do this all the time, I had the really unique opportunity to become a Fulbright Scholar after graduation. So during my senior year, I applied to the Fulbright program and then went on to live in Bogota, Colombia for a year. And during that time, I taught English as an English teaching assistant and got to create civic engagement and service learning opportunities for students on my campus to take part in while I was doing Fulbright. And then that was in 2012, and I came back from Fulbright and was able to start working with Stoked Mentoring as a full-time program manager, and have since been doing work in the nonprofit space, supporting young people in youth development initiatives, service learning initiatives across the tri-state area. And now I get to do that work in California. I'm a nonprofit consultant here, and I support organizations with developing programming for young people, out of school time programming specifically. And my PACE path was one that was really full of community, full of tribe, full of resources that I was able to tap into, and ways that I was able to really just build my leadership tool belt and really just step into my power in a way that I really credit people like Dean Lisa, like Heather Novak, like the staff at the Honors College, like the woman in the Writing Center who helped me with all of my papers when I needed to edit my work, right? She actually had helped me edit most of my papers in college, and then I went back to her to help me edit my Fulbright scholarship essays, so it all came back full circle in these really beautiful ways. So my PACE path is very much full of cheerleaders and who I call tribe members, and I have some of my best friends and mentors who are still in my life 13 some odd years later, because PACE just really brought me into this community and loved me and let me be authentically myself and pushed me along the way. So with that, I'm complete. I've said a lot, but my time at PACE has been one that followed me and supported me to where I am now.
Oh, so inspiring. And I mean, those are just 2 examples. Every PACE path experience is unique, but talk to any PACE student, I think you'll really see that every one of them is just so involved, and not because they're getting anything out of it other than the fact that they love contributing to their campus community. Every single person that's a member of the PACE community is really proud to be a member of the PACE community, and they want to be able to enhance the community aspect for every other student and prospective student that walks through the doors of campus. So I think that, you know, Angela and Hannah are just two wonderful examples of how, you know, PACE can really develop people into change makers, people that are going to really go out there and just change the world. So truly inspiring stuff. Thank you so much. And I think Hannah really hit on a great point. The support that you get after college, all of these resources, particularly the career ones that I've been mentioning, they do not stop after you cross that graduation stage. If 10, 15, 20 years down the line, you find yourself in a place where you need to revise your resume, or you're looking to change career paths and need some help finding, you know, that next big gig, you're easily able to go to career services, and they'll support you in all of the same ways that they supported you when you were a student on campus. So PACE really is a family and a community for life. People are going to be your lifelong cheerleaders. We're here to support you. We're here to ensure your success, not only the 4 years that you're on campus, but for eternity to come. So I think that is really one very special feature. Once a PACE setter, you really are always a PACE University setter. But moving right on, we're going to talk to Angel and Hannah a little bit later on when we bounce back into our Q&A. I do want to talk a little bit about financial aid. So at this point, you all should have received your financial aid packages. So in terms of what you're going to be looking at when you get that financial aid letter in the mail, we do try to organize the letter as easy to read as possible. So it's going to be pretty much 3 different boxes. You're going to have your gift aid box, which is going to contain your scholarships and grants. That's the money that you don't have to pay back at the end of the 4 years. That's the good stuff. You also have the other aid programs that you're eligible for. So those loans and that work study. So those, don't feel that by filing the FAFSA that you're automatically going to enroll yourself in a loan program that you don't want to be a part of. These are all just options for you that we're presenting, and you do have to opt into everything, or you can decline awards as well, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. But at the very bottom of the package, you are going to see your direct expenses as well as your indirect expenses. Direct expenses are everything like tuition, fees, room, board, meal plan, all of those expenses that are being paid directly to PACE. Indirect expenses are estimated. Those are more so personal expenses, books, transportation, supplies, things that we can't necessarily give you a concrete price of, but what we anticipate your students spending. So the cost of attendance, what you're going to get is going to be those total, that total cost minus the gift aid, and that will be your cost of attendance. So in terms of being able to access all of this information, if you haven't accessed it already, you can go into your applicant portal, and in the My Info tab, you'll see the login information for your My PACE portal, which is a separate area from the applicant portal. So once you get that login information, you'll be able to log into your My PACE portal, and from there, you'll have a navigation bar on the left-hand side. In that navigation bar, you're going to click Students, and then you'll see an option for Financial Aid Award System. Once you click that link, you'll be able to click Award, Award for Aid Year, Review and Accept Award Offers. Then you'll be able to select the year 2020 to 2021, and your aid package will pull up for you. And again, all of those different options will be laid out for you, the gift aid versus the other aid, and the cost, the total cost of what, you know, you're anticipating spending. In terms of additional aid, I think this is a good opportunity because I do like to reassure people that the financial aid package that you get in the mail is not necessarily the be-all, end-all aid that you can receive as a student. So additional resources for students to utilize, we do have endowed scholarships. Endowed scholarships are donated to the school by money donated to the school by alumni, community partners, different corporations, people who, really want to ensure the success of future students here on campus and, help them in their academic endeavors. So they donate money specific to programs on campus. And then as a current student, you'll be able to work with your academic advisor to see what funds are available to you. Endowed scholarships do follow the students for the full 4 years. So as students graduate every year, more and more funds become available. So if you're a School of Performing Arts student, you'll be able to sit down in the fall with your advisor, see what funds are available for School of Performing Arts students, and from there begin the application process. We also encourage students to apply for outside scholarships. And I know this might sound kind of crazy because I definitely thought this was a little shocking when I first found it out, but I promise you that it's true. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarship money every single year goes unclaimed simply because people don't know it's out there or people don't want to take the time to apply to it. So my piece of advice, because I know that it's really overwhelming, we give students resources like fastweb.com and collegescholarship.org, which are online databases for scholarships, but they list out thousands upon thousands of scholarships. So I totally understand that it may feel like an overwhelming process, but my advice to help make it more manageable, if you can take 2 weeks and at the end of the night of each of those days during the 2 weeks, you take an hour and you set aside that hour to apply to 2 different scholarships. At the end of those 2 weeks, that's 28 different scholarships that you've applied to. And it really is a numbers game in that sense, where the more scholarships you apply to, the better opportunity you have at securing that money. Because if you're the student who applies, you're the only student who applies to a scholarship that you're qualified to receive, and no one else applies for it, you're going to get that money. So again, it's really a numbers game. The more opportunities that you put out there for yourself to get money, the more likely you are to be awarded. So we highly encourage students to seek those outside scholarship opportunities because those are also, it's also the most flexible type of money that you can bring in. In terms of PACE scholarships, those go strictly towards our tuition versus outside scholarship money can really be applied to tuition, room and board, personal expenses, it's flexible. So those are additional opportunities, but if you did have any additional questions, we do recognize that with the COVID pandemic, that some people are now in financial situations that they weren't in only a few weeks ago. So if you would like to discuss your financial options moving forward, absolutely, I encourage you to reach out to undergraduate admissions or financial aid, and a counselor would be happy to sit down with you and really discuss your options moving forward. So next steps for accepted students, take a tour or attend an event. I know that we are working remotely in these crazy times, but all of our tours and all of our campus events have been moved to a virtual platform. So you still are able to get a feel for our campus facilities, hear from current students, and still get that PACE University experience. So we are still doing virtual tours every day or every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. We have them for both of our campuses. So if you go to pace.edu/stay-connected, you'll be able to register for one of those virtual programs. I also recommend you join PACE-Bound Online, which is a platform that we offer students to chat with, get to know their different incoming classmates. Very common for people to meet their future roommates on that platform, so get to know some of your incoming classmates as well. You'll also want to submit that tuition and housing deposit by June 15th. We did push our deposit deadline back for all programs except performing arts. So if you do fall in the School of Performing Arts, musical theater, acting, commercial dance, what have you, we are still looking for that May 1st deadline. However, if you're not School of Performing Arts, we have pushed things back to June 15th. Over the summer, you'll be able to submit those AP, IB, and dual enrollment credit scores to be evaluated, and we'll be able to see how those transition over into the PACE curriculum. Register for summer orientation, submit those final transcripts, and then before you know it, Labor Day weekend is going to be right around the corner, and move-in weekend will be upon us. So fingers crossed that everything is good to go come fall. But we are being very transparent and keeping everyone in the loop in terms of how everything is developing with COVID-19. But as of right now, orientation, we are still fully planning on hosting and inviting all of you to see our beautiful campus over the summer. We do have a few different orientation dates available. However, for our out-of-state students, we also have an early September option so that way you don't need to fly back and forth between the West Coast and the East Coast numerous times throughout the year, or throughout the summer rather. You do have that option to fly out once, do orientation, and then immediately just progress into the semester. So those options will all be emailed to you once you submit that tuition deposit. So welcome to PACE. Thank you all again for attending tonight. Before we transition into the Q&A, I do want to just show you all our information, undergraduate admissions on our New York City as well as our Pleasantville campus and financial aid. Like I said, even though our university is operating remotely, we are here for you and we are still answering calls, responding to emails, really supporting you in any way that we can to help make this decision process easier for you during these crazy times. So please reach out. Do not be a stranger. We are happy to help out in any aspect of this decision process. And ways that you can stay connected to PACE, pace.edu/stay connected. Again, that's where you can register for all of our virtual events. We have virtual PACE-bound accepted student days, as well as academic webinars that are being posted online, those virtual campus tours that I mentioned. So again, plenty of opportunities to learn more about our two campuses, PACE-bound online, and then we even have a Spotify playlist that we've been compiling. So feel free to add a few of your favorite songs and listen to what other future setters have been listening to lately. So at this point, I'm going to invite everyone back on screen, Hannah, Angel, Jess, and we are going to jump on into the Q&A section of the event. So I think one question that we can kind of use to kick off the Q&A section is what's, one of the hardest things about the transition from California to New York, or vice versa for you, Hannah, and one of the easiest transitions, and any kind of advice that you would be able to give to a student who's in the process of transitioning. Any tips, tricks, what have you? If you want to start, Angel?
Yeah, I could definitely start. So a trick or a tip that I can give to you all is to get involved, because I could sit here and tell you all the clubs and everything we have to offer on campus, but it's one thing to be willing to go out and actually partake in these clubs and environments. So for me personally, I was extremely homesick my first semester, and then I joined my sorority, and it was fine going forward, but I knew of all of the clubs, I knew of all the organizations, but mentally I wasn't ready to partake in these things. So I think it's just preparing yourself to understand that everyone goes through this transition regardless of where they're from. However, it might be harder for us because we're going across the country, but to know that one, you're not alone, that you always have resources at PACE. You can always reach out to me, reach out to any one of your advisors, professors, anyone. We all understand the process, but to, again, personally, mentally be prepared to be ready to partake in utilize resources. That's basically what I have to offer for someone coming in from California.
Amazing. What about you, Hannah?
So being a New Yorker, even though I went to school about 2 hours away from where I lived, it was a completely different world. I am a city girl through and through. I missed the subway, missed the ability to just move around as I wanted to, but knew I needed the quiet of the suburbs to really focus and get my work done, right? And so for me, I would say that transition from city to suburb was one where it really forced me to get to know people, get to know what was happening around me so that I could tap into community. It didn't really feel as alone as it can be easy to feel if you're going from big to small, right? PACE is a community that just really felt like family, so it wasn't super hard to feel included, to feel seen. But I think that really just, like Angel was saying, making sure that you are staying aware of what all is happening around you, and not necessarily saying that you have to do all the things, but just understand what resources are at your disposal so that when you're ready to jump in or dip toe in, you can.
Amazing, great answer. All right, Jess, how is our Q&A box looking? Turn your mic on. Oh, Jess, you're still muted.
Thank you,
There
Alexa.
we go.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
So we do have one question of when do the fall athletes move into the dorms? I would advise you, Kate, to just take a look at the housing emails as they come in for further updates about that.
Absolutely. And definitely talk to your coach. They work closely with housing to get all of like the move-in details coordinated for their athletes. So your coach would probably have some insight as well for you as terms of when you can start moving into campus. Okay. I'm seeing some questions about class registration. So for students that are coming onto campus for their first semester, your academic advisor is going to handle everything. So they'll look at what major you're looking at, they'll look at any high school credits that you're transitioning in, and from there they will develop your first semester schedule. And then moving forward, you'll be able to work with them to determine what courses you still need to take to complete your PACE education, and they'll help you through that registration process. So the first semester, we take care of everything for you. You meet your academic advisor at orientation. You're able to speak with them and kind of go over that schedule. But then going forward, you work closely with your academic advisor to finish out scheduling your own coursework going forward.
And we also have a question about the Honors College. So the Honors College is a very tight-knit community. Angel, would you like to speak about that at all?
I am personally not an honors college student. However, I have many friends in the honors college that do love the community. They have their own lounge, which they are able to utilize in New York City, and again, do work in there. I personally had a couple of meetings in there. Although I'm not an honors college student, I've had a couple of permission access to be granted to be able to do my meetings in there and partake in a couple of things in there. So I know from my best friend's perspective, having the honors college on her side is been something that has been very beneficial to her PACE path in terms of having that community again and having honors college courses, which will help her and benefit her as a marketing major.
And if I could just add to that, in what I remember of my experience in the college, similar to what you were saying, Angel, there are specific courses that you have access to as an honors college student to take with that community of students, and some additional supports through the lounge and advising. And if I remember correctly, there was also some scholarship opportunity attached to that as well.
Yep, absolutely. You do have scholarship opportunities for study abroad, as well as to fund your honors thesis at the end of your experience. So additional money there as well. Perfect.
So honors college students do not have to move in early. I see that was a question. You are not required to move in early as an honors college student.
At the moment, in terms of how classes are going to be formatted for the fall, we are anticipating starting in person. As of right now, we anticipate a as normal start. We're being very transparent as updates come out and recommendations from the CDC. We're constantly adjusting our operations and really trying to remain as flexible as possible. So for right now, again, preparing for that in-person start, but really this entire process has really helped us transition our operations online. So if we do need to progress forward with that, we do have all of the resources available to do that successfully and make that transition as easy as possible for the students. But as of right now, we're still hoping to see everyone's smiling faces on campus this fall.
Another question is, what other classes are available to major for students who are interested in performing arts but maybe aren't a performing arts major? We do have a major called Arts and Entertainment Management, which is sort of the business side of arts and entertainment and performing arts. So a lot of our performing arts students will actually minor in that, and it's one of our more popular programs. So in that case, you can take classes that have to do with performing arts but are on the more business Lubin side of things.
I see that we have a question about endowed scholarships. Yes, in order to apply to endowed scholarships, you do need to be a current student on campus, but it's not a hard application process. Again, you can work with your academic advisor during your first semester to see what endowed funds are available to you within your specific major. And then from there, it's usually just a short online application, contact information, a little bit about you, why you want the scholarship, what your plans for at PACE. And I've seen students walk away with, a few $100 to help cover some tuition to almost full tuition paid off. So really does vary in terms of what's being offered on a year-to-year basis. So you can constantly follow up with your academic advisor every semester to see what opportunities become available. So continuous ways to just increase that additional assistance.
Angel, would you like to speak about the food on campus? We got a question about, is the food good?
Yes, I can definitely speak to that. So pertaining to the New York City campus, our cafeteria has many options such as sushi, sandwich station, we have a pasta station, we have a hot bar which circulated for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have a grab and go station, so if you're in a rush, you can grab a prepackaged sandwich, salad, you can take that out with you. We have vegan, vegetarian, kosher-free, gluten-free options for you. So basically it's up to you. We have a various options. We also have a full functioning Starbucks in our cafeteria, and they use your meal plan. A freshman is required to have about $1,800 for their meal plan. And we also have these things called flex dollars. They're participating restaurants around our New York City campus, such as Rosella's, Chipotle, Red Mango is a yogurt place. So basically, if you're ever tired of the cafeteria food with the various options, you can go on, head over there, grab a pizza, grab Chipotle. So we got you covered and all that. And we love to hear your opinion. We have a station which is circulated based off of students' choice. So we love to hear your opinion. We always take the students' opinion into consideration when giving them their food. So that's the cafeteria.
If I could just add to that, like even in my experience, I remember the staff just being so open to like hearing our opinion about the food and changing menus or creating international menus to accommodate students. So definitely feel free to share what you want, because part of that PACE experience is being accommodating and listening to student voice in any facet of the experience.
Absolutely.
And I see that there was a question about student-run productions. So there are student-run productions that non-performing arts majors can audition for.
So I see a question about the FIGs on our Pleasantville campus. So in terms of the FIGs, they really are just, it stands for Freshman Interest Group, and they're kind of like themed housing. So in terms of the FIG options that we have available, we have Body and Mind, CEO, which stands for Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities. Extreme Sports Pace Nation, ESPN, which is sports related. We have the Honors FIG, we have our Nursing FIG, Pop Culture and Media, and Setters Leadership and Service House. So those are just different themed floors. And the idea behind that is that when you come onto campus, you're moving into a community of people that already have similar interests to you. And your resident assistant will be able to plan events around that theme, knowing that everyone on the floor is interested in that theme. So people are more likely to come get involved with that kind of community that you have set on your floor. One thing I do want to highlight though, you're not locked into your FIG. So if you are in the nursing FIG, that does not mean that you cannot attend an event in the ESPN FIG. You are free to move between the FIGs, attend all of the different events. It's really just a tool to help students kind of integrate into that residential community those first few weeks on campus. So in the housing application that you get sent, once you submit that housing deposit, you will be sent your FIG preferences and you'll be able to select which one you would like to be a part of. Okay.
So I see there was a question about honor students on the New York City campus. Honor students on the New York City campus do not have to live with other honor students.
However, on the Pleasantville campus, we do request that our honor students live together. So you will be requested to live with an honor student. But again, like I said, just because you're living with other honor students, that does not mean that you can't interact with all the other students in the building. All first year students are housed in Alumni Hall. So pretty much your entire class is right there with you. I see some, I have a question about non-performance majors and how they can participate in the arts. So on campus, we do have various clubs and organizations to get involved with on both campuses. They are a little more prevalent on the New York City campus just because our performing arts major is based down there. So we tend to see performing arts majors starting up performing arts themes clubs for all the different students to get involved with. But we do have Pace Drama Alliance, which exists on both of our campuses. Again, student productions that they are able to take part in regardless of major. And if you do see a performing arts club that you're interested in, even though you're based on the Westchester campus, because it's just a club, you still are able to get involved down there. We do have the free shuttle for you to take to attend those club meetings. So there is still that opportunity to get involved on that alternative campus as well.
And going with that, there was another question about having classes on both campuses. So sort of like what Alexa just said, you can take classes on the other campus. Like I said in the chat earlier, you do need to be on the campus where your major is offered. So you won't be taking all your classes. Let's say you live on the New York City campus, you can't be taking all your classes on the Pleasantville campus, but you can take 1 or 2 classes a semester on the opposite campus, and you can use that free shuttle as long as you are making sure that your class time is in between when the shuttle is running. And you are absolutely welcome to attend events on the Westchester campus if you're living on the New York City campus.
All right. In terms of themed floors in the New York City housing, what's that like, Angel? Would you be able to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so my freshman year, I lived in 182 Broadway. It's one of our residence halls in New York City. It's about a 5-block radius from our main campus. It's about like a 7-minute walk. And then we also have Maria's Tower, which is adjoining One Pace Plaza. It's right above from the cafeteria and library. So at 182 Broadway, we had our honors floor, but we also had a foodies floor. We had a destinations floor for people who like to travel. So it's basically goes towards your interest. So if you love to eat food, you're gonna be on the foodies floor. So you basically just put in a poll what floor you wanna be on in regards to foodies, honors, global studies, like whatever, and then you could then partake on that floor.
And I see there was a question about students who audition for the musical theater BFA or a performing arts program their second year. So it is still a highly competitive program. It is just as highly competitive if you are auditioning your second time or your second year. It is still the same audition process with an online pre-screen and then the in-person audition. So the chances of you getting in, getting accepted, if you're auditioning that second time is not too different than auditioning the first time. Of course, every year they are looking for something different in the students, a different group. So it's not to say that if you auditioned your first year and maybe didn't get into the program, that doesn't necessarily mean you won't get into it your second year, but the chances are the same as far as it's still a highly competitive program.
Okay, I see a question about orientation. Yes, we do require all first-year students to attend a orientation session, but as I mentioned earlier, we do have the orientation session that's right before Labor Day weekend, which caters to our out-of-state students. That way you don't need to fly out in the middle of July, fly back, then fly again at the end of August. You're able to just move in that first week of September for orientation and then transition right onto campus through move-in weekend. So that is an opportunity for you, but if you wanted to come out for one of the orientation sessions in June or July, you're absolutely welcome to do that as well. I also see a question in terms of work study. So the way that work study works is that it's not guaranteed. So essentially when it's in your package, that's what's available to you. You still have to go out and get the job on campus. But once you have that job, which is not hard to find, there's jobs all over campus. I know of students having 2, 3, even 4 different positions on campus. So jobs are plentiful. And once you have that job, the income that you make from that job doesn't get counted towards the income that you report on the FAFSA. So it essentially just doesn't count against you the next year that you're filing your FAFSA. So that's the way that work study works. Hannah, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that my job with the Center for Community Action and Research as the student outreach coordinator, that was a work study position. So I want to demystify any notions that folks might have around like types of jobs you can get with work study. it runs the gamut. You can work in the library, you can work for CCAR, you can work at career services as an assistant. Like, it all depends on what type of work you're looking for and where the needs are on campus and then what you want to learn. So I encourage you to really think big when thinking about what you want to learn and how you want to get involved on campus and what work study job can align with that.
Yep. And it's super easy to apply to jobs on campus as well. pace.edu or careers.pace.edu. So once you're a student, you'll be able to log in with your student credentials, see all the student jobs that are available, and apply right online. So very easy and accessible. What's next, Jess?
So we have some questions about housing. You can fill out the housing application. So there's some questions about, can you put which building? You can put which building you prefer. It's not guaranteed that you will get that building, but you can put down a preference for which residence hall you prefer. And then there are some questions about how you choose a roommate or how you get to know students who aren't in your major. We do have something called Pacebound Online. If you haven't signed up for that yet, you can get on there. It's a way for accepted students to meet other students and to get in contact with each other. So maybe you can meet a roommate who you could put down as a roommate request when you fill out that housing application form.
I also see that there's a question regarding switching campuses. Yes, it is super easy to switch campuses so long as your major is offered on the other campus. So for example, if you were a performing arts major, you couldn't switch to our Westchester campus because it's only offered on the New York City campus. But if, say, you're a marketing major, since it's offered on both campuses, you'd be able to easily make this switch. It's really like a 5-minute phone call to student services. They're able to just kind of internally transition your housing, and you work with your academic advisor to register for the courses that you need on the appropriate campus. So as long as you know you're working with your academic advisor, letting them know so they can assist you with the transition, it's a very easy transition that you can make at any point throughout the 4 years. Okay. Great. If you have any last minute questions before we wrap up, feel free to pop them in the chat now. But I do want to say again that we have plenty more virtual events coming up. We have our virtual Pacebound Accepted Student Days. We're starting virtual academic webinars with all the different academic departments, so you can hear a little bit more about all of our different academic programs. And we also have our virtual tours. So I highly recommend staying in touch. All of these different programs do incorporate current students. So the more programs that you attend, the more student experiences you'll be able to hear, to really hear, you know, that full kind of package of what PACE has to offer. Let's see, for the students, let's see, even Hannah, obviously, student and alumni, anything that you wish you knew about PACE as a freshman? I guess anything that, you know, maybe a word of advice that you could pass along to another incoming freshman.
I guess I could start. This is kind of hard, but again, get involved. I guess another thing I would say is allow yourself to be open-minded to everything that comes your way. Again, I was very homesick. I was kind of, you know, rejecting everything that came my way, but be open-minded. Don't be afraid to reach out to anyone. Again, reach out to me as a Pacebound ambassador. Go on Pacebound, find those friends, use the Facebook group chats, go on Instagram, follow the Welcome Center, follow everything to do with PACE before going, just so you know what you're in for. And also be ready for a change of environment. If you're coming from California, be ready for that busy environment. Get to know the subways before you get there. Get to know downtown. And then also, before classes start, explore the surrounding areas. Again, get to know your area, get to know what's happening, get to know the community. That's kind of what I wish I would have known going forward as a freshman, but that's just my tips and tricks to give to you.
Thank you.
So what I would add to that, I think what I wish I would have known or done was more research on the types of housing, because I was just so excited to go to college and live on campus. I was just like, put me with anyone. Y'all can do what you want. I'm just showing up. And then I had a great time. I had a great experience. I was in a quad my first year, loved it. But I think what I wish I would have done was really just did some research on the living styles of each of the different types of dorms and what they offered. As a freshman, you're in this one dorm, but for some of the other housing options years later, I just kind of went where the wind blew me and went where my friends were going. And in retrospect, I think really paying attention to what I needed in terms of my living style, what types of rooms I would have been most comfortable in, and putting some of that comfort first would have made for a more easeful experience on campus.
It's great advice.
And that comes with just asking questions of the PACE community, of your PACE-bound folks and whomever else you have contact with. I had a lot of contact with PACE students while I was applying, but that was the one question I didn't ask. So definitely just use the resources and people to your advantage in getting those questions answered.
And I saw another
Fantastic.
question about how can you get access to the housing application? So once you do submit your housing deposit, you should receive an email from our Res Life within 24 to 48 hours after you submit that deposit. And you can also see all this information on our residence housing website.
Yeah. I have a question about graduating early with AP credits. Absolutely. Obviously, the more credits that you bring in, the less credits you'll have to take at PACE. So that does open up the opportunity to graduate early, depending upon how many credits you do bring in. But also that does, we see that students who bring in credits do have more wiggle room in their schedules come senior year, which does allow them to take on additional opportunities for interning, additional job positions on campus, leadership positions. So they're just as busy, but they're finding different ways to occupy their time because they finished out those academic requirements.
And I see there was a question about the key card. So your PACE ID will serve as your card to get into the buildings. So it's basically a swipe access where you put your card on the swipe access and it opens for you to be able to get into the building. So not only do we have live security guards at each door, we also do have the swipe access for you to get into the building.
Amazing. Well, it looks like that's it for questions, but I, again, cannot stress enough, if you need to contact anybody at PACE, if you want to know more about your acceptance package, if you want to know more about your financial aid, additional opportunities for financial aid, again, you can find all of the contact information for undergraduate admissions as well as our financial aid office right online. Even though we are working remotely, we are more than happy to assist you with anything that you need. Again, make this decision process as easy as possible, especially since you have a lot to consider among all of these crazy scenarios that we're in. But other than that, just thank you all again for attending. And pace.edu/stay connected. That's where our virtual event hub is. So if you want to get to know PACE more, feel free, register for an upcoming event, a webinar, a campus tour. There'll be plenty of opportunities for you to hear from additional students and again, learn more about the PACE University experience. But until then, we hope to see you all on campus soon. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great night. Bye, everybody.